from my mug, curled upwards, a silent question mark against the cool morning air. It was a ritual, this first cup, a quiet communion with the day before the world outside began its insistent hum. Each morning, as the sun painted the kitchen in soft, shifting hues, I found myself drawn to this simple act, a moment of stillness in a life that often felt like a whirlwind. It wasn't just about the coffee, though the rich aroma was certainly a comfort. It was about the pause, the deliberate slowing of time, the space to breathe before the demands of the day descended. My fingers, still cool from sleep, wrapped around the warm ceramic, a small anchor in the present. This was my brewing bliss, a quiet rebellion against the rush, a gentle reminder that even in the busiest of lives, there was always room for reflection. And as I watched the steam dance, I often wondered how many others found their own solace in similar, unassuming moments. How many silent rituals unfolded across the globe, each a tiny act of self-care, a whisper of peace in a noisy world. These were the thoughts that often accompanied my morning brew, a gentle unfolding of introspection that set the tone for the hours ahead. It was a time for memories, for dreams, for the quiet processing of emotions that often got buried beneath the day's clamor. The clinking of the spoon against the mug, the soft gurgle of the coffee maker, these were the sounds of my sanctuary, a symphony of calm that resonated deep within. And in that quiet space, I often found myself revisiting moments, both joyful and melancholic, allowing them to wash over me like the gentle warmth of the coffee itself. There was a tender ache in some of these memories, a bittersweet longing for what once was, or what could have been. But even in the melancholy, there was a strange comfort, a sense of connection to the past, to the people and experiences that had shaped me. It was a reminder that life, in all its complexities, was a tapestry woven with threads of joy and sorrow, laughter and tears. And each thread, no matter how fragile, contributed to the richness and beauty of the whole. My partner, Liam, often found me lost in these morning reveries. He'd walk in, his presence a warm, grounding force, and without a word, he'd pour himself a cup, joining me in the quiet ritual. His hand would often find mine, the silent acknowledgement of the shared space, the unspoken understanding that flowed between us. We didn't need words in these moments. The comfort of his presence, the gentle pressure of his hand, spoke volumes. It was in these shared silences that our connection deepened, a quiet affirmation of our bond. He understood, without me having to articulate it, the profound importance of these morning moments, the way they anchored me, prepared me for the day. He was my steady ember, a constant source of warmth and light in my life. And with him by my side, even the most challenging days felt a little less daunting. Sometimes, he'd share a thought, a small observation about the world outside, or a gentle query about my own reflections. His questions were never intrusive, always inviting, a soft opening for me to share if I wished. And often, I did. I'd tell him about the memories that surfaced, the philosophical musings that danced in my mind, the quiet hopes that bloomed in the stillness. He listened, truly listened, his eyes reflecting a deep understanding, a quiet empathy that always made me feel seen, truly seen. It was a rare and precious gift, this ability to share the depth of my inner world with someone who embraced it so completely. And in those shared moments, the brewing bliss extended beyond myself, encompassing the warmth of our connection, the quiet strength of our love. The world outside, with its endless demands and relentless pace, often felt overwhelming. The news, the responsibilities, the constant pressure to be more, do more, achieve more. It was easy to get swept away, to lose oneself in the current of external expectations. But these morning rituals, these moments of brewing bliss, were my anchor, my compass. They reminded me to slow down, to breathe, to reconnect with my inner self, with the quiet wisdom that resided within. They were a sanctuary, a refuge from the storm, a place where I could simply be without judgment or expectation. And as the last sip of coffee warmed my throat, I felt a renewed sense of purpose, a quiet strength that would carry me through the day. It was a strength born not of force or aggression, but of stillness, of reflection, of the gentle power of self-care. And I knew with a quiet certainty that no matter what the day brought, I had this ritual, this sacred space to return to. It was my constant, my comfort, my brewing bliss. And in a world that often felt chaotic and unpredictable, that was a profound and precious gift. The quiet hum of the refrigerator, the distant chirping of birds, the gentle rustle of leaves outside the window, these were the subtle sounds that filled the space, a natural symphony that accompanied my thoughts. I often found myself observing the smallest details, the way the light caught the dust motes dancing in the air, the intricate patterns on the condensation forming on the window pane. These small observations, often overlooked in the rush of daily life, became profound in their simplicity, each a tiny testament to the beauty and complexity of the world around me. It was a practice in mindfulness, a gentle invitation to be fully present, to savor the fleeting moments that made up the fabric of existence. And in that presence, I found a deeper appreciation for the ordinary, a quiet joy in the mundane. The world in these moments felt less like a battleground and more like a canvas, waiting to be painted with the colors of my own experience. And I, the quiet observer, was both the artist and the art, a part of the grand unfolding masterpiece. Sometimes, a particular memory would surface, unbidden, a ghost from the past that demanded attention. It might be a moment of laughter, a shared secret with a long-lost friend, or a tender embrace with a loved one who was no longer here. And sometimes it would be a moment of regret, a choice made that led to an unforeseen path, a word left unsaid that lingered in the air like an unresolved chord. These memories, both sweet and bitter, were not meant to be judged or dismissed. They were simply there, a part of my story, a testament to the journey I had traveled. And in acknowledging them and allowing myself to feel the emotions they evoked, I found a deeper understanding of who I was, of the intricate tapestry of my own being. It was a process of gentle acceptance, a quiet embrace of all they've been, all that was, and all that was yet to come. And in that acceptance, there was a profound sense of peace, a quiet liberation from the burdens of the past. The warmth of the mug in my hands, the gentle steam rising, the quiet rhythm of my breath, these were the anchors that kept me grounded, even as my thoughts drifted through the vast landscape of memory and reflection. It was a dance between the inner and outer worlds, a harmonious interplay of sensation and thought. And in that dance, I found a sense of balance, a quiet equilibrium that sustained me. The world outside might be loud and demanding, but within this sacred space, there was only peace, only stillness. Only the gentle unfolding of my own truth. And as the last drop of coffee disappeared, I felt a quiet sense of completion, a readiness to step back into the world, armed with the quiet strength and clarity that this ritual always provided. It was a small act, this brewing of bliss, but its impact resonated far beyond the confines of my kitchen, touching every aspect of my day, every corner of my being. It was a reminder that true strength often lay not in grand gestures, but in the quiet, consistent acts of self-care, in the gentle cultivation of inner peace. And in that understanding, I found a profound sense of gratitude, a quiet appreciation for the simple yet profound magic of the everyday. The sun, now higher in the sky, cast longer shadows across the floor, signaling the gradual awakening of the world. But for a few precious moments more I lingered, savoring the last vestiges of the quiet, the lingering warmth of the mug, the gentle hum of contentment that filled the air. This was my sanctuary, my daily communion, my brewing bliss. And it was enough, more than enough. It was everything. The gentle scent of the coffee still lingered, a comforting embrace that seemed to follow me as I moved about the kitchen, preparing for the day ahead. Each movement was deliberate, unhurried, a continuation of the mindful state cultivated during my morning ritual. There was no rush, no frantic energy, just a quiet flow that carried me from one task to the next. I found myself humming a soft, wordless tune, a melody born of the stillness, a reflection of the peace that permeated my being. The world outside, with its insistent demands, felt distant, its clamor muted by the lingering echoes of my inner sanctuary. This was the gift of brewing bliss, a quiet resilience that allowed me to navigate the complexities of life with a sense of calm and clarity. It wasn't about escaping the challenges, but about facing them with a grounded spirit, a heart filled with quiet strength. And as I stepped out of the kitchen, ready to embrace the day, I carried with me the warmth of the mug, the wisdom of reflection, and the enduring comfort of my own quiet ritual. It was a small act, but in its simplicity, it held a profound power, a gentle reminder that even in the midst of life's storms, there was always a place of peace, a sanctuary within, waiting to be discovered. And that, I realized, was the true essence of Brewing Bliss. It was not just a drink, but a philosophy, a way of being, a quiet celebration of the human spirit's enduring capacity for hope, for connection, for finding beauty in the most ordinary of moments. And as the day unfolded, I knew that this quiet strength, this inner peace, would be my constant companion, guiding me through every challenge, illuminating every joy. It was a promise whispered on the morning breeze, a gentle affirmation of life's enduring magic. And I, with a heart full of gratitude, was ready to receive it.